schedule this
Recording in
evening
progress.
is, well, we have just the public hearing right now, and there is a vote to open the public hearing on school choice for the 25-26 school year, a vote to close the public hearing on the school choice for the 25-26 year, and then consideration of superintendent's recommendation on school choice for the 25-26 school year. So with the committee's consensus, I would just suggest that perhaps we take the vote to open it first, and then perhaps take up the superintendent's recommendation next, and then the closing the vote. So hopefully we are all in favor. And
So
then I would
moved.
just, yes, thank you. And then let's ask for a vote to open the public hearing, which maybe you just did,
I
Ms.
did.
Bergstrom.
Yep.
Okay. All right,
Second.
then we need a second.
Second.
And all in favor, Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
Ms. Vinyarji,
Aye.
and Dr. Matthews? Your might
There
be
was a
off,
thumbs up
or
aye.
okay.
Yeah,
I can't see it. That's
I'm
fine.
sorry, I'm in a very noisy place, so I trying to stay on mute.
Okay. Yes, you were just off my screen. So, and the chair votes aye. So the public hearing is now open, and we will take up consideration of Dr. Hackett's recommendation on school choice. School choice is something that the school committee takes up each year prior to June 1st. And we are required to vote on whether the district will has the capacity to admit non-resident students or not. So Dr. Hackett, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So well said. This is a yearly requirement from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. This is not the same as your policy on open enrollment, which, just to be clear, that's not what you are considering tonight. This is a yearly requirement that the department wants a school committee, every school committee in the state to take action on. So school choice would essentially allow students who are non-resident to attend Winchester Public Schools for essentially the state per pupil amount. There are many school systems that do it. There are some school systems in the state that depend on it. We've not done it here, to my knowledge, ever. And my recommendation in part would be tonight to suggest to recommend that we don't allow for school choice, mainly and primarily based on the fact that we just don't have capacity. And understanding that we are opening Lincoln, I'm sorry, Lincoln's opening, that we're opening Lynch in the fall. And so conditions could change over the next couple of years, but next year is certainly not the year that we want to be getting into offering school choice. We don't entirely know what the enrollments are going to look like. We had the study done by UMass Donahue, but the experience here and my experience elsewhere is that when you build it, they do come often. So I think we need to live through that a little bit. And just also to say that we have the highest enrollments at the middle school and the high school next year that we have seen since pre-pandemic. So that would be my recommendation. And obviously we are in a public hearing and people may have questions or may want to comment on it, but the primary and somewhat only reason that you can vote to not allow for school choice is based on space constraints. So that would be my recommendation. Things have not really changed for us at this point.
And Dr. Hackett, just to clarify, non-resident means citizens who live outside of Winchester who are not considered residents of the town.
Correct. So in the way that it works is that in schools that do it, and you can open it up for a particular grade level, you can cap the number of students that you accept. It can be arranged, but that you would basically go on and say that you have open enrollment. The department would say they would actually list it on their website. So anyone who was in the area who's looking for open enrollment and whether or not Winchester participates would be on the DESE site, and then they would essentially apply based on the parameters that we put in place, primarily just a cap and what grade levels, not anything to do with any kind of, it's not a private school option. We don't take applications and review through an admissions process. So that's how it work. How it would work and how it does work. And once again, we're just not a place where from a space standpoint and predictable space standpoint that we really can participate in that this year from my perspective.
Are there any other Dr. Matthews, you have unmuted.
No, I was just going to say, unless there's anybody who wanted to participate from the community, I'm happy to make a motion on this.
Anyone is on as an attendee who wants to comment, you can raise your digital hand and we would elevate you.
I do not see anybody raising their digital hand.
In that case, I would be happy to make a motion to accept Dr. Hackett's recommendation to opt Winchester out of the Massachusetts School Choice Program for the 2025-2026 school year, given the unpredictability of our space constraints with an elementary school which is still yet to open.
Second.
Thank you very much. And all in favor, Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. So the vote is unanimous. Thank
right,
you
so
very much. And
I would be happy to make a motion to close our public hearing on school choice.
Second.
thank you. Thank you. All in favor, Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous to close the school choice public hearing. So we will roll right into our regular meeting agenda, which is we will begin with public comment, followed by superintendent, chair, and student remarks. Then a consent agenda consisting of consideration of a WIFI grant for $1,000 for building bridges with the Winchester Unity Garden, consideration of acceptance of $10,466.51 in specialty accounts for Ambrose Elementary, which consists of library funds of $3,181.63, music funds of $508.92, and art funds of $6,775.96. Then we have consideration of acceptance of $18,200 in-kind donation for the Vincent Owen Elementary Pizza and Herb Garden. Does anybody have any questions or comments about this? Otherwise, I would accept a motion.
So I would make a motion rather to accept the consent agenda as presented. Or sorry, are we trying to do the consent agenda that's on the screen right now?
Yep.
Yeah, just okay. So make a
Yes.
motion to accept the consent agenda as presented with thanks to all of the donors.
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor, Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
and Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous. And I'm sorry, I think I just blitzed through that.
It's okay,
and
Madam Chair.
completely
You
neglected
did
to
it
read
well.
the
We
rest
got it
of the
done, and we're going to go right to the next items.
So next items, I think we're going to have to circle back. So I lost my train of thought. So next we have, also on our agenda tonight, we have reports, updates, and action items, a first reading of the capital planning recommendations, subcommittee and town assignments draft, including the state of the town working group assignments, policy subcommittee update with a first reading of policy JJIF, the student athlete concussions, and the delegation of the OML response to the town clerk, state of the town committee introduction, and anticipated future agenda items, next meetings, and adjournment. So now I will just circle back to our public comment. And do we have anybody in the audience this evening here for public comment? Just go and look.
And
Hey,
just raise a
And if you
digital
could
hand
raise
if you
your
have any
digital hand.
comments.
I've checked and I only see 2 attendees, one of whom is WinCam. So in the event that one person does not raise their digital hand, I think we are good to close public comment.
That
I believe
WinCam
that is our
person
Win
never
News,
misses a meeting.
Winchester
So
I
News
know.
person. So yes. So, okay, so then I will close public comment and we will return to the superintendent, chair, and student remarks. And oh, go ahead, Dr. Hackett.
No, thank you. So good evening, everybody. Good to see you all. Just a couple of comments. We did actually today was an early release day, and I may put Ms. Kirby on the spot just a little bit if she loves it when I do this. It's how I keep my people just just on their feet, on their toes. But we had a great session this afternoon, excuse me, with all elementary teachers who gathered at the high school in the auditorium and heard a presentation and participated in a presentation by Dr. Grimaldi, who went through some great information on the science of reading. It was well received. Dr. Grimaldi has just a great presentation style. She is matter of fact and humorous, but incredibly knowledgeable on the topic. Some really good takeaways, I think, for everybody. Most importantly, I think was in and around just what's the science of reading is and what it isn't. It's a body of research. It's not a program. And then she also spoke to the fact that there is no one program that works, but how important it is that there's a foundational knowledge for all of our teachers around the science of reading and really the research, more importantly, is what she described. So I don't know, Ms. Kirby, if you have anything you'd like to follow up with, but I thought the session went very well.
I think you did a great job summarizing. The only thing I would add, there's just such great energy in that room, and the feedback is affirming that we are certainly heading in the right direction, and people are excited by the possibility. I will say that today we put out a form so that we can start to collect information about who might be interested in piloting the 2 programs that were selected. And the form just went out this morning, and I'm pleased to say that already we have many people, and we're looking at teams. So many teams across the district and all the different schools. So it's very exciting.
Ms. Vignardi, I see you have your hand up.
Thank you. This is very exciting. It's something that we've been talking about as a community for about a year now. So I love this. And I know a lot of our elementary teachers were excited about it as well. Just a couple of questions. It was all K-5 teachers, correct? For all
Correct.
5 elementary schools. And the volunteers are across all 5 schools as well?
Yes. And so that the audience today was all elementary staff. That included general education, special education, coaches, curriculum coordinators. We were all on board because we are all teachers of literacy, and we want that foundation and just the understanding of the why behind we're going in this direction, and then understanding what our role is in that. So the ESPs were there as well, because there is certainly a place for them as we go forward and meet all of the individual needs of our students.
That's
And
great.
then your
That's great that
second question, yeah.
And no, that's great that we're empowering the whole staff, right? Not just general classroom, but bringing the whole team in.
Correct.
That's fantastic. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, I thought you had a second question just around the volunteers.
Yes, so the volunteers for the pilot, now it's going to be 2 programs, correct?
Yes,
Two pilots, right? And you received volunteers across all 5 schools?
yes. And the closing date
Excellent.
is next Wednesday. Again, they went out early this morning, and by 11:30 this morning, we had representations from all the different schools.
Excellent. Do you have an idea, a number in mind for ideally, how many teachers that you'd like to have?
So ideally, we would like at every grade level to be able to pilot the 2 different programs. And we are thinking it is best to have both programs present in the schools. So what do I mean by that? It might be that grades K, 2, and 4 are piloting the EL Imagine program, and then the other grades would be piloting the arts and letters. This would give opportunity for that in-house collaboration as we're looking at these programs and measuring them against the criteria that we establish. And it will also allow for people to see just that vertical alignment as we go. And just thinking about, again, how we get those people who are not part of the pilot into the conversation. So we just think it's very important to have both pilots represented in each of the schools and really being mindful of how we're using our time that we have during the contractual day so that everyone feels like they're part of the conversation and can weigh in as we go forward. And I will say that this is a full year pilot, and that is unique, and the publishers, vendors are very excited by that, and just, of course they are, because that benefits them. But my point in all of this is just the way that we're approaching this and really thinking about the whole. And it's not just the program, because we know it's not a program that's going to make a difference for our students. It is the teachers' understanding of the science and their expertise and best practice, instructional practice that will pull it all together. So our goal this year is to make sure that or thinking ahead to next year, that we are providing many different opportunities that go well beyond just this is what the program is, these are the routines in the program, but just continuing to build the understanding, the knowledge of all the elementary staff so that when we finally have a program that we adopt, that they really can implement it in a way that makes sense for the students that are before them.
That's great. I'm really looking forward to hearing about the progress that they're making, and I'm assuming that they're going to be checking in with the ELT throughout the year, right?
So
Yeah,
what?
so
Oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
No, go
With
ahead. Go ahead.
spoiler alert, spoiler alert. We have something planned in June where we're going to dive in deeply on
Oh,
these
okay. That's
questions.
great.
But yes, there is a plan for all of that. They'll have many different opportunities to check in district, out of district. We're firming up those plans now. And we're just excited that we just announced that we are welcoming a new literacy coordinator. So that is certainly going to be very helpful as we kick off the year.
Which was
Excellent. Thank
a
you.
great segue. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please,
Continues
Frank.
to.
No, please,
No,
Dr. Hackett.
I would just say, you can call me Frank, just don't call me late to dinner. I would like to also was a segue into saying that we did announce to the faculty today that we are super excited that we have appointed now a new literacy coordinator, Melissa Newell, who is currently in Lowell. Years of experience in Lowell. We had it was the process actually was organized and run by Ms. Kirby. It felt more thorough in some ways in the process I went through to get to superintendency, and some of the candidates actually commented on what a thorough process it was. It was really designed and run by our ELT and our staff, and the number of opportunities that were provided for everybody to hear from these candidates, including a Zoom opportunity session where every single elementary teacher had the opportunity to log on and hear them speak, give direct feedback. And the choice of after the three applicants went through, the candidates went through, was so clear from the feedback that Melissa Newell was absolutely the number one candidate. I think people are excited about her experience, her depth of knowledge. She just has a skill set that is exactly what we need right now, especially because she has that leadership quality. So it's not just somebody who is a literacy person, it's someone who also knows how to lead people. And that for us is just really key. So we're thrilled to have her on board. We'll put out a public announcement first thing in the morning. We want to make sure faculty had it first. Then we went through the session this afternoon. And we will hopefully get her here prior to the end of the school year for the school committee. As already said by Ms. Kirby, we're looking to do a put a ribbon on the year for the work that's been done in literacy at your meeting on June 12th. We're hopeful that we'll be able to have some actual of our teachers, ELT members to come in and talk. CES will be able to kind of provide the overall picture of how things have gone. We'll talk a little bit about what next year looks like from various perspectives. So I don't want to spoil anything, but that is something that I think we're all excited about.
Great. Thank you so much.
Ms. Bergstrom?
Thank you. I echo some of Ms. Minyarji's comments as well, and I just wanted to take a minute also to thank town meeting. It seems like an appropriate time, given the excitement around being able to announce the beginning of the pilot program for funding the pilot program at town meeting for $455,000. And if town meeting members are listening or here, this is the beginning of what you have funded is the curriculums and the professional development that will support these programs and these teachers as they work through new curriculum. Working through new curriculum is not necessarily an easy task. It's exciting, but it requires teaching with fidelity, and it requires a lot of the embedded professional development. And that is what we hope to support through the Warren article around literacy. So I am excited to be able to talk about this today, because it's town meeting just recently ended, and the work has already begun. So just making that segue for us, that the work has been going on for a year, but the work around it, around the warrant article funding, is just begun. Ms. Kirby and Dr. Hackett, I just wanted to ask a real quick question around the PD. When we talk about the warrant article professional development, that is the embedded work that's going to be required to support teachers and staff around these new curricula. Will there be, I heard Ms. Kirby say it involves all the staff, and certainly even if you're not involved in the pilot, you'll be involved in around the conversations around it in the buildings. Do we imagine that the PD to support these two programs will be available to teachers whether they are piloting or not, or are we not there yet? Is that something to put in the parking lot for the June 12th meeting?
Yeah, we can go into more specifics then. So the PD that would go with the program is very content specific, except
Yep.
for the first part. They call it a launching, and they give the why behind this philosophy of program, the knowledge-based program. So we'll get into that in June. What I can say, so we need beyond that, we need to make sure that, so we're looking at the feedback, it's coming in, and it is, people are being very specific about what good next steps would be for them, for their personal growth. So we'll take a look at this feedback, and then we'll regroup and think about different ways to approach that. And again, our idea is it will be ongoing PD for literacy instruction, best practices with that solid foundation of what is a knowledge-based program and why are we going in that direction, and keep building on that. And then throughout this process, and it came up today in the feedback, it is just great affirmation. The confidence in the voices are coming back, and they're coming back strong, and that's the energy that we're feeling. It is good to hear that, just the strategies and the knowledge behind why those strategies work, and then you're a classroom teacher and you're actually doing it each and every day, it doesn't get better than that for the affirmation. So there's a lot to celebrate, and then there's a lot to, I want to dive into this, I want to learn more about this. So once we really put all that together, then we'll design a pathway which would go well beyond what the publishers would offer in regard to PD for their specific program.
Great,
Does
thank
that
you.
make sense?
It does, and that's I think it will be, that's good to hear and good to share with parents in the community, Ms. Kirby, that whether your child is in a classroom that's piloting a new curriculum or not, that they are still getting the same strong evidence-based literacy instruction in the elementary schools. I would encourage the ALT, and maybe working with our new literacy coordinator, to think about ways to push out parent communication around that early and often, because I want parents to feel confident that whether your teacher's piloting a new curriculum or using materials that we have adopted over the last several years, that their children are getting the same coordinated scope and sequence of of instruction and still being exposed to the same kind of literacy instruction. It's just a different program with a different name in a different room, but the same philosophy and teaching strategies behind it.
Right, with the standards being first and foremost, that's what we're teaching toward. Yes, good
Correct.
good point, Michelle. Yep.
I will say that my the estimation of how much we thought that it might cost, we are we
Little
will
under
spend
budget?
all the 455 on this pilot. But the good news is that it looks like we are actually kind of right on with that number. And the just also to say that it's not just the materials, it's also the PD that's baked
Mhm.
into those estimates. So that
Yep.
is a one, it's a so to speak, it's all packaged. So it's not PD on top of that for the pilot implementation. And Ms. Kirby was already clear about beyond that, there's PD that we will be supporting in other ways too, through literacy for all teachers. So in case anyone was concerned, we weren't going to spend all the money. Just saying, that's all.
Curriculum is not inexpensive, nor is PD.
And I think, Madam Chair, that is the conclusion of my report.
Okay. That's great. That's wonderful news to hear about all of the latest developments, and very excited to welcome Melissa Neal to the community. And it's just really exciting to see all the energy just so clearly from the team, the teachers, and from when we welcome the new literacy coordinator. So thank you so much for that update. Let's see.
I'm sure I do have, I'm sorry, I've been reminded that Mr. Marion, could you just speak a little bit to bus registration?
Yes, good evening, everyone. So next Tuesday, we'll be opening bus registration for next year. So there'll be a notice going out to current families so they can begin registering online via Aspen. So they would sign in. There's a link to register, and they can also process payments directly on there too. What's new for next year is that Lynch is going back to their brand new school. So we anticipate having less riders there. But we still plan to offer transportation. It will be a paid service for most of those Lynch folks as they're within that 2-mile boundary. So information going out next week. Registrations would be due by July 10th is when it ends. And then we continue to register folks who are new to the district and moving in, but the priority would be for those who register during this time period.
Great. So next Tuesday, so May 27th is when bus registration is opening up.
Yes.
Terrific. Okie dokes. And then let's just see. From chair remarks, I will just say it's an exciting week for our seniors in town. Seniors will be finishing up on May 30th. And then there will be a whole series of senior activities, including the promenade, which will be June 4th, if people in the community are interested in attending. I've often seen a lot of people going to watch. And then that's at 5:45 p.m. And then graduation will be June 8th at Symphony Hall. Then in other news, the student council over at the high school had just had its election. And we were very grateful for the representation from the student council of Ms. Maher Sharawat and then also Michaela Jens. They will be coming next week to introduce our new student reps. And they are Ingo Lee and Julia Bjod, who are both juniors. So we will get to meet them next week. And that is all I basically have. So, and Miss Jens, Michaela had said that she would not be able to make it this evening, but she just passed along that information. So thank you. Let's see. Okay. Oh, so I know we already voted on the consent agenda since I got caught up in reading all of the detail on it. But I did just want to point out that the Wi-Fi grant for $1,000 for the building bridges with the Winchester Unity Garden, that is a grant that is a student grant. So it is going to one of our students, Anshu Roy Patra. So many congratulations to her. That is also a project that is it's an intergenerational project that is also bringing together students from the high school and the community and with the Jenks Center. So thank you very much for that. And congratulations to her. So next we'll move into the reports, update, and action items. So Mr. Marin had just prepared just an initial draft of the capital planning recommendations because we will be moving into that cycle very rapidly towards the end of the summer. So, Mr. Marin, if you would like to introduce.
Would just start by saying, obviously, you received this not too long ago prior to the meeting. This is a draft. The hope tonight would be that you have a chance to go through it over the next couple of weeks, give any feedback, thoughts directly to Mr. Perrin or myself. Some of these items, for those of you who have been here for a little bit, you will recognize them. They look very familiar. We have made an effort to many of these items actually will be seen through the DPW's priority list as well. So Mr. Perrin's worked hard to coordinate with DPW, which is what we've always kind of done anyway. But there are some things on here that should look very familiar to most people who are veteran members. And then there are a few things on here that we have done a little bit of reprioritizing on. So that would be the feedback that we would need. My understanding is the town hall would like to see the recommendation from all departments by, I think, June 13th, Mr. I think it's June 13th. So we'll bring this back to you likely for your June 12th meeting.
Yeah, sorry, it's June 13th.
And is that earlier than usual, Dr. Hackett?
I don't know that it's earlier than usual for their request, but that would be really super early for us to actually submit our items. So I think they're really looking to try to get it early this year. So unless there's anything go ahead.
Yeah, I could add it. They requested to have it earlier in order to gauge sort of the ability for any of these projects to be funded through CPC funds and start planning around that. So that's what we received from town management.
I wasn't sure if it had anything to do with the state of the town committee either, Mr. Marin, that if they were looking to phase out for that.
Yeah, it will certainly help kind of knowing where some of the capital projects and priorities lie, for sure.
So I will say, since I actually sit on the WCCP committee as well, that we are doing an initial round of applications that will open it very shortly in the summer to look to fund items for the before fall town meeting that might fall under historic housing, open space, or recreation. That application would ideally, if it is our building, need to come from the school committee. I'm not sure if we are have anything that would meet their qualifications or would be appropriate to present to them at that time. But I just wanted to let you know that is news hot off of our meeting last night. So as it develops and as the application comes out, I would encourage the school department to look at that and see if anything that we have on this list would fit any of those 4 buckets.
You're on mute, Karen.
Thank you for pointing that. Is there a timeline, or maybe you just said that, for when those might be due?
There is not a timeline yet. We hope to have it out in the next month or so.
Got it.
But the idea would be that the applications would have to come back, be reviewed over the summer, and be ready for fall town meeting. The committee did vote to try to set a goal of only spending about half of the CPC funds that would be available, which would be about $800,000. So it's not the large round of funding that might come for Springtown meeting. And we did not commit to spending any of it in the fall, but we did want to give people the opportunity to put in applications if there were projects that seemed appropriate and available.
That's great. That's great. Looking forward to more of the details on that, and thank you for the hot off the press information. So anything more, Mr. Mayor or Dr. Hackett, on the draft?
That's
Or
it for
we'll
me.
just-
We plan for your next meeting, which the capital items, which I think will be June 12th. We'll have
Yep.
Mr. Austin here from facilities. And so if we collect your questions over the next couple of weeks, and then we'll present then. And then hopefully have your priorities to submit to the town.
Great. Thank you. Okay. All right. With that, we'll move on to the draft of the subcommittee assignments for school committee. So you have in your binders a draft of the subcommittees, largely filled with TBD items. So over the course, this is just for your information and for your reference. And over the course of the next week, some of you have reached out and expressed some of your interests. And over the course of the next week, I'll be checking in with each of you just to see what you are interested in, and we can finalize this. I will say that for the State of the Town Committee, we have Dr. Matthews and Ms. Minyarji and myself who will be representing the school committee to the State of the Town. And then within the State of the Town Committee, there are a number of working groups, including three which might touch the school committee. So those are the town and school operating needs, and the capital needs and asset strategy, and then the non-levy revenue and structural costs and efficiencies. So I had touched base with each of the members who will be representing the school committee. And the way that we will split this up, it will be that Dr. Matthews and I will be working on the school operating needs side, and let me just see. And Ms. Minyarji and I will be working on the capital needs and asset strategy. And Ms. Minyarji and Dr. Matthews will be working on the non-levy revenue and the structural costs and efficiencies working group. And then for the other subcommittees, then I will touch base with each of you, and we will work and over the course of the next week. Okay. There are not any questions, then we will move right along to the policy subcommittee update. Okay, just checking my schedule.
Madam
So,
Chair, would you like
yes.
me to quickly go through this on behalf of Policy Subcommittee? I'm sorry, I'm in a very noisy place, but I'm happy to just quickly talk about our last meeting if that's helpful.
Oh, sure. I was just going to pull up our menu or our memo and go or give the highlights of that. But if you
So-
would like to do so, please go right ahead.
No, I was just going to say, while you're pulling that up, I can just say that we had a meeting last week, or was it earlier this week? I can't remember.
May 13th.
Yeah, May 13th, at which Lynn Vozella, who's our Director of Nursing, attended. And we spent a substantial amount of time going through the policy JJIF, student athlete concussions, which I know that she has been working on with district staff pretty carefully over the past weeks and months. And we were able to, I think, vote that out of the policy subcommittee in its revised version for consideration by school committee as we move forward. So I just wanted to say, in particular, thanks to Ms. Wazella for that and the other staff at the district level who've collaborated on that, because it's something
yes.
obviously very impactful to our students across the different athletic programs. Mr. Aria is another one who I know was involved. So,
And the athletic trainer, Ms. Heather Fanning. So yes. Thank you. And I would just add that they had produced a streamlined concussion procedure, which is in your binders. It's based on the policy JJIF on the athletic concussion policy. And it also references an authorization form from the post-sports related head injury medical clearance form. So basically a protocol just for after a head injury, bringing students back, and then also a chart of the concussion stages protocol. Excuse me.
Can I ask a quick question about
Sure.
this? Just really quick. So what I hear from Dr. Matthews is that this was developed by medical health professionals and follows the new best practice in medicine. Is that correct?
Yes, it was something that came from the Department of Education.
So I would also be happy to suggest to the policy subcommittee and this committee that we can, if this is a policy that is sort of beyond our scope and falls within the Department of Education and the medical field, that if people were comfortable, we could also vote to suspend the policy and just accept this today. We don't have a policy on second read. It's a practice on second read, but mostly to give members time to ask questions. But I'm happy to do that if it sounds like it's already gone through a lot of vetting.
It has gone through. Yeah.
I'm happy to do that, Madam Chair, if you're happy to do it as well. I mean, we certainly, I will say to Ms. Bergstrom's point in our policy subcommittee meeting, I felt very much over my head on this one because it was very much a medical policy that's developed by professionals, and I agree with and accept your rationale that it is definitely beyond our purview in many ways, and I think we just want to accept the good work that's been done. So if Madam Chair, you're amenable to that, I'm happy to make a motion to suspend our practice of doing a second reading and just accept the revision of policy JJIF student athlete concussions as presented in the binder tonight.
All right, second.
Thank you. Thank you. And then I would just comment that with there is also, we also had looked at policy JJIFR, which is much more specific. It's already in our manual. It is very specific around around the protocols. And Ms. Vazella had said that she and the health services team would take that back, and it's probably more suited for their nursing website or just for more of an internal procedure than as part of our policy manual. So, thank you very much for the motion and the second. So all in favor, Ms. Bergstrom?
Aye.
Dr. Matthews?
Aye.
Ms. Minyarji?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous. So thank you so much. And I'm glad we could push that along. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, much appreciated. I know that the athletic department and nursing department will appreciate that as well.
That's great. And I'm just going to mention this. This is just in your binders. It is policy CBI on the evaluation of the superintendent. You have a few documents in your binder that are related to this. We will come back to this next or in our subsequent our next school committee meeting. So. But if you read over it and you have some questions, then we can have a discussion at the following meeting.
And Madam Chair, I would just clarify for those who may not know, we do have a policy on superintendent evaluation. So this is not the evaluation, but it is the process. So we will take the process up, or we would ask that you consider the process or have some conversation around the process as it's written in the policy.
Thank you. Okay, next we have delegation of the OML response to the town clerk. And this is largely just procedural to assign the formal response to the town clerk. So
So we did receive it.
Madam,
Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, do we need to make a motion around this?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, sorry, Dr. Hackett. I know I cut you off, but I'm happy to make that motion.
You did not cut me off, and I think the motion will be welcomed, and it is procedural. Thank you.
All right. So I would be happy to make a motion to delegate responsibility for the response to an OML complaint. And do I need to provide details of that, or
No,
are
you
we
don't.
able to? Okay, to the OML complaint that was received by the school committee, responsibility for that response to be delegated to the town clerk of Winchester.
Second.
Thank you very much. And all in favor, Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye, so the vote is unanimous. Thank you. Next, we'll just move, well, I guess we're coming back to the State of the Town Committee. So I'm just going to provide an update, and Dr. Matthews and Ms. Minyarji, please feel free to jump in if you have anything else to add.
So sorry to interrupt, Madam Chair. I actually have to drop off the meeting, so I will.
Okay.
If that's okay, I will be happy to leave this to you. It looks like after this we're going on to item 7 and 8. So
yes, then we're
with your permission, I just didn't want to disappear. So thank you,
That's
everybody,
no.
and apologies for my craziness tonight. But I will definitely be back at the next meeting. Thanks for everybody's ability to soldier on.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. So with the state of the town, last Friday, we had the first launch meeting or the launch meeting of the State of the Town Committee that was run by Mr. Paras Bayani and was attended by various committees in the town. And basically, the purpose of the committee is to prepare a comprehensive financial plan that is planning towards an override that would go to the voters in 2026. There are volunteers from several different bodies, planning board, CAPTA planning, the finance committee. We were able to meet some of those members. And as we had talked about before, some of the working groups were introduced and interest was sought for who might be willing to serve on some of those different working groups. So school committee members agreed that we would come back and figure out how we would assign those working groups. And the next meeting is going to be next Friday. So for the main group, it's mostly a bi-weekly meeting. And then with the smaller working groups, those schedules are yet to be set up. Ms. Minyarji, do you have anything to add to that? Or
No, I think that it was a great kickoff meeting that Paras led. I think there's a lot of excitement and energy in that committee. I believe that they're still looking for community members. So if anyone's
true.
watching and you are interested in joining the conversation at State of the Town, please find the application on the town's website and come join the conversation. This is an important part of our town's operations, so I hope you're able to join us.
And
That's great.
Stephanie, they can be any community member. They don't need to be a town meeting member, or it's any community member at large. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I believe you have to be a registered voter, so you have to be at least 18 years old.
Okay.
So as I'd love, but of course, if any child is watching this, please come. We'd always elevate your voice. But yes, you have to be a resident, a Winchester resident, and you do not have to be a town meeting member. Thank you for clarifying that.
No worries. Mr.
And
Mayor,
if you-
we can let the people, our friends at the student council know.
Yes, yes, very good.
That's right. And then I was just going to say that at if you would like to find more information, since Ms. Mignard, you just mentioned that you can go to the town hall website and just look up State of the Town Committee for Winchester, Winchester Town Hall. So. Okay, so next we have anticipated future agenda items, and let's see. Just pulling these up with the Lynch Project update. We are planning a tour and workshop for sometime in late June, and I believe we are aiming for the June 26th meeting. Also, the facilities master plan, the bullying prevention and response plan. We will need to circle back to that. We hope to have a update from the middle school schedule working group, and we will be seeing the 2025-2026 handbooks. And I believe we also need to add in open enrollment, as we usually take that up around this time of the year. Anything else from our members? And then let's see, we have our next meetings. So next meeting will be May 29th. There will be a retirement ceremony for some of our retiring staff. And then we will have a meeting on June 12th that we have alluded to times throughout this meeting. So the schedule is filling up for that one. And then we have adjournment at this point.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Second? So thank you very much. And all in favor, Ms. Mignardi,
Aye.
Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. And thank you very much, everybody, for your time this evening.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Don't float away.
Take care. That's right.